The story begins in the kingdom of Herzeth, a nation where most people are healers. In this country, healers are categorized into 3 ranks. A healer is third-rate if they can only heal minor injuries, second-rate if they can fully heal the affected, and first-rate if they have enough power to make the world a better place. Healers are so crucial to this country's economy that the major academy's only job is to teach students sophisticated healing magic and help them earn their licenses so they can begin their journey as official healers. However, in the corners of this kingdom, there are villages and slums where such formal education has not been introduced yet, meaning people there do not have a license to practice healing. In one of these villages lives our protagonist Zenos and his elf girl sister Lily, both of whom struggle to survive in their unkind life while living in a shabby house. Zenos is also a healer himself, and although he doesn't have a license to practice healing, that doesn't stop him from helping the people in his town who can't afford to see official healers. He begins his day by healing a person in his house, then heads out on a house call, leaving Lily alone in the broken shack, where she eagerly starts preparing to cook dinner for her brother just seconds later. A spirit named Carmilla visits her out of nowhere, wanting to have a taste of her cooking as well, revealing that she too is their roommate and just wanted to wish her a good morning before heading back to her room again. The moment Carmilla leaves, another young lady named Zophia enters, calling out to Zenos, followed by Lynga, who also wants Zenos to treat her. Judging from their attitude, it seems both of them are into Zenos. And let's not forget the younger sister Lily, who has taken an oath to become his wife one day. Anyway, both Lynga and Carmilla sit down when another woman named Loewe bursts through the door, claiming that she too has come for some daily amusement. The story hasn't even started, and yet bro already has a harem. That's crazy. While the ladies eagerly sit around, Lily continues to cook patiently for Zenos and asks the girls if they plan to join them for dinner later. When they reply affirmatively, Lily becomes happy and states that she'll look forward to sharing a group meal, remembering that she needs to hang the laundry. Lily goes outside, telling the girls to watch the pot. However, instead of watching, the girls end up eating everything in it. Meanwhile, Lily takes a breather outside while hanging the clothes and falls asleep, thinking about Zenos. Back inside, the 3 girls discuss who should take the blame for eating Zenos' dinner, ultimately making a plan to cook an identical meal before his return. However, Lily wakes up and, with a menacing tone, demands that they explain how and why the kitchen is in such a mess. The 3 girls try to make excuses, claiming it's too complicated to explain, but Lily sees through their lies. She gives them one last chance, either tell the truth or face the consequences. Zophia is the first to crack under pressure and admits that she ate the stew because it smelled so good. Lynga claims that her hands and mouth moved on their own, while Loewe, more straightforward, offers no excuse and simply compliments Lily's cooking. While Lily fumes in silent rage, the 3 girls begin to wonder how they can get out of this situation. They start blaming each other again, but their conversation shifts to Zenos, and they begin fantasizing about what they'll get him to do when he comes back. Lynga mentions that the fur on her tail is feeling rough and that she wants Zenos to rub it, claiming he frequently does so. Loewe, however, doesn't believe her, arguing that Zenos would never please anyone except for a six-packed Abed mama like her. As the 2 argue over who Zenos likes more, Zophia, the only rational and slightly crazy beast girl, tells them to quiet down, which Lily agrees with, thinking Zenos will be upset if he sees them fighting. Lily expresses her hope that they'll all get along as she truly wanted to have dinner together. Understanding Lily's feelings, the 3 beast girls apologize to her and promise to help make dinner. However, Lily no longer has the ingredients to cook another batch. At that moment, Carmilla comes downstairs, and upon learning that the 3 troublemakers ate everything, she threatens to consume their souls as punishment. Lily decides to forgive them on the condition that they bring her the ingredients. The girls gladly agree and rush off to escape the wrath of the angered spirit. Once they're gone, Carmilla sits down with Lily and urges her not to be so easygoing with them, as they'll just keep causing trouble. Still, Lily insists on getting along with everyone, including Carmilla, and hopes she'll have dinner ready before Zenos returns. Speaking of Zenos, he's on his way back home when he notices a beast girl named Till clutching her stomach in pain. A highborn noble stops the girl, pulls her by the hair, and chastises her for running away from his house, revealing that she's his slave. He drags her back to the cemetery, expressing his disdain for a demi-human like her, and stating that someone as filthy as her deserves to be buried in a lowly grave. He hits her against a grave when a dark aura rises from it and enters her. Unaware, he continues to kick her, but the dark aura causes her to spiral out of control, prompting her to attack the noble with her claws. The man, completely powerless against her, has no choice but to flee in the opposite direction. After getting injured, Till's master tries to run to safety and meets Zenos along the way, not knowing who he is. The psychopath informs Zenos that his slave has gone mad and has just attacked him. He pleads with Zenos to help him, and soon after, Till arrives to finish him off. Looking closely at her, Zenos notices a large force of dark energy from Till's body and immediately seeks to know what the man was doing with her, and the dummy claims he was just working. Upon further inquiry, he reveals that they were just farming. After that, he beckons on Zenos to take him to the hospital, considering how injured he is. He even offers to pay Zenos if he can get rid of Till. At the moment he says this, Till is about to strike him, but Zenos pulls him out of the way. He should have let the girl cut that cute hair of his. Just then, she throws some rocks at him and he dodges them swiftly. After that, Till's master orders Zenos to isekai her, but he doesn't wish to do that. This angers the blondie who believes that his inaction could lead to an aristocrat's death. He pays no regard to Till's life, stating that she is just a slave he can replace at any time. Hearing this, he assures the pathetic coward that he values each life equally. This response angers the master who wishes to know who the hell Zenos is. In response, Zenos confidently reveals that he is a healer just before almost getting slammed by Till. Hastily, he amplifies his hand and punches the large rock to bits. This shocks Till's master to his bones. Can you see how wide his eyes are open? However, he continues to witness how fast Till tries to attack Zenos, but he figures out her every movement and smacks her to the wall without touching her. This causes the building to fall right on Till's master, but he fortunately survives this. Shortly after, Till regains consciousness and tries to get up. Seeing her in this devastating state, Zenos rushes to help her, but finds that she has been possessed by a demon. He lets her bite him and seizes the chance to heal her of all her injuries and from the possession of the demon. This causes her to pass out, leaving him wondering what kind of farming she was doing to get her possessed by a demon. Soon after, he boasts the demon into oblivion. While all of this is going on, Till's master watches in shock. He is fully convinced that Zenos is indeed a healer. Due to this, he begs Zenos to heal his wounds, but he claims that he is off the clock, urging him to come the next day. However, Till's master exclaims at this since he will be gone before the next day. He orders Zenos to heal him immediately, but Zenos claims that would only be so if he pays something extra. Hurriedly, the dummy throws a bag of coins at him, hoping that this is more than enough, but Zenos claims that it isn't. Hearing this gets Till's master angry, especially since the price he offered is more than enough for the services of a healer. Before the dummy could blab any further, Zenos lets him know that he isn't a licensed healer, but just an underground healer. On hearing this, Till's master is left wondering if such a thing as an underground healer exists. Soon after, he asks to be allowed to take Till as part of the payment. Without thinking twice, he agrees and asks Zenos to heal him right before he gets handed the documents to Till's ownership. Later on, Till regains consciousness and is shocked to see Zenos beside her. She seeks to know who he is and he tells her his name. Also, he informs her that he has bought her and she reveals her name to him as his first order to her. As her new master, he orders her to wear her birth clothes, and she finds this extremely surprising. I think I like where this is going. Since she cannot oppose her master, he is forced to go ahead with it and does as he says. After she does this, he scans her body and finds she has an issue with a gallstone in her body. Just then, he heals her and smashes the stone to dust. The mode in which he does this fascinates her, especially since he just performed magic without any incantation or complicated methods. Even though she continues to blab about this, Zenos wonders why she is so thrilled at something so normal, although she thanks him for curing her and wishes to know what she can do to pay him back. Without wasting time, he states that he has something for her to do. At first she imagines that he would like to develop some plot with her, but he only shows her the page of a book and asks that she help him find what is in it. Bro just fumbled the bag. After a short while, She finds some leaves and hands them to him. When he sees it, he is very pleased. He thanks her for it and offers her her freedom in return. He even tears up her slave papers, claiming that she has paid him back for saving her. As much as she is happy about being a free woman, she has completely no idea about what to do now. However, she is determined to find out and hopes she will get the chance to inform him when she does. Hearing this, Zenos has no issues with it. He also asks that she comes to see him if she ever gets hurt so he can heal her for free. Later that night, Zenos returns to his house and is welcomed by the girls who seem very happy to see him. Some of them had just gone to get some fruits and fish. One of them even notices that he must have met a new girl, but he ignores her. Before dinner is to be made, one of the girls offers to make some black tea for all of them to drink, and Zenos seems happy about this. I guess that's why he didn't fancy Till, since he had a lot of girls to go around. Zenos was once a member of an adventuring party. Everything was going fine until one day their leader Aston decided to kick him out of the team. After completing a guild commission, Aston called Zenos in for a meeting and threw a gold coin at him, mockingly telling everyone that a poor loser like Zenos had probably never even seen something like that in his sorry life. Zenos didn't understand why Aston was suddenly acting like in a hole for no reason. So Aston spelled it out for his dumbass, telling him that his contributions to the team had been insignificant lately, and that's why they all agreed they didn't need a useless loser like him anymore. Zenos disagreed, saying he'd been doing his best and even reminded Aston of the time he recruited him from the slums when he was just a kid. Back then, Aston only wanted to be his friend, so why now after using him all these years? Was he throwing him away? Did that mean Aston no longer saw him as a friend? Aston couldn't believe how gullible Zenos still was. He made it crystal clear they didn't need some slum-born bum tagging along anymore. Their party was now one of the top ranked in the country, and having someone like Zenos with them would only ruin their image. Still, Zenos tried to fight for his place, saying they only made it this far because he'd always been there, their trusty healer. But Aston didn't give him any credit, claiming that Zenos only used some shady, self-taught healing magic. If a slum rat like him showed up in front of nobility or royalty, their reputation would be wrecked. At that point, Zenos didn't have anything left to say, so Aston wrapped it up, telling him to consider that gold coin his severance fee, and laughed hysterically as Zenos walked away in silence. Meanwhile, something evil was happening in the dark streets. A shady woman and her archer accomplice were trying to poach an elf girl who I think was Lily, Zenos' now adoptive sister. Lily barely managed to escape their grip by kicking the archer in his bullseye, but realistically, she never stood a chance against a long-range shooter. As expected, the archer just shot her down with an arrow straight to the leg. Still, she didn't give up. She fought for her freedom, tooth and nail, until the archer finally stabbed her in the gut to shut her up. Zenos, who was walking nearby, lost in thought about what to do now that he was officially unemployed, overheard the noise and decided to check it out. As he arrived at the scene, he found the woman and the archer standing over Lily. And yeah, he could tell they were guilty as hell, but the woman simply shrugged it off, saying it was none of his business and that Lily was their slave. Zenos played it smart. He offered to buy Lily, handing over the same gold coin Aston had thrown at him earlier. Since Lily was on the brink of death anyway, the woman gladly accepted the deal and walked away with a smirk. What they didn't know was that Zenos was a healer. The moment they were out of sight, he kneeled beside Lily and healed her on the spot. Her injuries vanished in an instant, and she stared at him, completely stunned that her wounds were just gone. She thanked him for saving her life and looked upset that she couldn't offer anything in return, but Zenos told her not to worry about it. She asked if he was some kind of world-class healer, and was even more shocked to hear that he was just a self-taught guy with no healing license. Zenos then asked where her home was, wanting to drop her off somewhere safe, but Lily admitted she didn't have one, no family, no real clothes, and she looked starved. So Zenos took her to a local restaurant and ordered food, but only for her. Since he was too broke to order for himself, he had other things to worry about. Lily had fallen under his responsibility now. Sure, he had the option of leaving her at an orphanage, but he knew exactly how those places treated kids like her. Lily, meanwhile, was curious about Zenos' job. She had never seen someone toss a gold coin like it was nothing, and expected him to be some rich aristocrat. But her expectations were crushed when Zenos revealed he had just been kicked out of his adventuring party and now had nowhere to go. His situation was just like Lily's, but unlike her. He at least had the opportunity to look for a proper job. Speaking of which, that's when a lizard man with severe injuries came crawling into the restaurant, begging for water. Judging by the burns and the type of wounds, Zenos figured the guy had been shot by a magic gun. The man was clearly in agony, so Zenos stepped in and healed him on the spot. Normally, healers with that level of skill are famous, so the fact that the man had never heard of Zenos made him curious. But regardless, the lizard man thanked him and handed over 4 gold coins in return for saving his life. It was the first time Zenos had ever been paid for healing someone, and it sparked a business idea. Open up a healing clinic, not just to make money but to bring back the smile of helpless people like Lily and that lizard man. But there was a problem. Since he was from the slums, getting a proper healer's license was impossible, which meant running a healing clinic would be totally illegal. He'd basically have to become an underground healer working in the shadows, unseen by the law. Lily approved of the idea, and since Zenos technically bought her from the poachers, she now saw him as her official master. She made it clear she would follow him wherever he went. Zenos knew there was number changing her mind, so he agreed to let her tag along, at least until he could find a safe place for her to stay. Later that night, they ventured toward the outskirts of town and ended up in the abandoned district full of torn-down houses and no signs of life for miles. Zenos picked one of the ruined buildings as the perfect place to start his underground clinic. The place looked haunted. Lily, being kinda superstitious, warned him that creepy undead monsters were often born in places like this, but Zenos didn't care. He stepped into the mansion anyway. It was pitch black inside, cold and silent, so Lily cast an illumination spell, revealing that she did in fact know basic magic. After thoroughly checking the place, Zenos decided it would do the biggest upside. This place had a roof, something he'd never really had before because his former teammates used to make him sleep outside like a stray animal. Anyway, the supporting beings were solid too, but just as he was about to confirm his new residency, a shadowy figure appeared. That figure was Carmilla, their soon-to-be roommate. When Carmilla came closer to them, Lily recognized her as the Wraith Spirit, the strongest undead monster that could turn someone into a ghost just by looking at them. Lily became increasingly scared, but Zenos, on the other hand, kept a straight face. He was rather surprised that they had now run into a wraith at a time when he thought they had gotten the best property. Seeing him this way, Lily wondered why this big head was so calm. Just then, Carmilla charged at them, but Zenos immediately shielded them from her attack using a healing spell. Only after experiencing her power did he truly realize what wraiths were. He had apparently encountered them previously when a friend of his would send him into an underground labyrinth to amuse himself. He had run into hundreds of them there, and this had caused him to realize that wraiths were weak to healing magic. Not wanting to drag things out of proportion, Zenos asked the wraith politely if they could move in. He promised that they would stay out of her way, but she found this insulting. Instead, she asked that they surrender and tried to attack them again. However, just as before, her attempts were futile. The dummy even apologized for whooping her behind, and she was so enraged upon the realization that she had now found her match. As a last resort, she summoned all her ghost servants and ordered them to essecate Zenos and Lily. Shockingly, Zenos blasted them all away in one fell swoop. This prompted the wraith, whose name was Carmilla, to ask him who the hell he was, and once again he introduced himself as an underground healer. He asked her to lend them just one bedroom and a room to conduct their healing activities, and she was forced to let them use the first floor. However, she grudgingly demanded that they not come near the second floor. Having witnessed all this, Lily was left wondering how she should react to it. The next morning, they set up the first floor to look like a clinic, and Lily even had nurse clothes on. However, since no one had come to ask for their services, she was incredibly bored. She even offered to go out and advertise a little, but he was scared about the Royal Hospital finding out about them and asked that she remain calm since patients would soon start showing up. At that moment, someone opened the door and Lily went to welcome him. Upon seeing him, she figured that he looked familiar. Also, Zenos seemed to have been expecting him. This was clearly because he had a magic gunshot burn, which would make it impossible for him to visit an actual hospital. However, the guy claimed he didn't come for himself, but for his sister, whose arm had been shot. Upon close observation, Zenos realized that she had been shot with a magically poisoned bullet. Also, since the bullet was still in her hand, it was beginning to decay. Hearing him say all this, the lady was surprised. She wished to know if he could heal her, and he assured her that he could, although he would have to cut the hand off before the poison spread. Hearing this, she accepted her fate and asked him how much it would take to heal her. In response, he demanded 1,000,001, which the two siblings found to be an outrageous price, especially since she would also be losing an arm in the process. To get him to change his mind, the lady introduced herself as Zophia the Tornado. She happened to be one of the 3 slum bosses and the leader of the lizardmen, one who would steal from greedy merchants and return portions of her loot to the poor. Meanwhile, Zophia sought to know who he was, demanding 1,000,001 for his services, and he reassured her that he would also regenerate a new hand for her. This left her shocked to her bones. The thought of a healer who could grow an arm back was something she had never had before. Upon hearing this, Zenos wondered how a healer would not know something as simple as regeneration. He clearly had no knowledge of the standards of the healers in this world, since he never got to study there. After greeting Zophia, they got right to the surgery. Before starting, Zenos magically made a blade from mana to serve as a scalpel, which he used to cut off her hand. While doing so, he cast a spell on the area of the cut to heal it over time in order to prevent her from feeling too much pain. After that, he began the regeneration process by generating her bones, then her nerves, blood vessels, muscles, and finally covered them up with skin. Doing all this left him exhausted. On the other hand, Zophia was so impressed by his skill. She acknowledged that she had never seen a healer like him. While she admired him, her dumb-headed brother called her attention to the wraith. Carmilla blurted out her anger that he didn't mess up the procedure before heading back to the 2nd floor. In the meantime, Zophia was very excited about how skillful Zenos was. She promised to send her people to his clinic if they needed any healing services. Later that night, Lily made tea for Zenos and Carmilla, who grudgingly joined them. She soon was forced to retreat to her floor after burning her lips with the hot tea. While Zenos and Lily continued drinking their tea, she asked him why the lizardmen were always injured, and he informed her about the growing war in the slum involving the lizardmen, orcs, and an unknown species. While trying to figure out what this third group was, they got an unwanted visit from them. They happened to be werewolves led by their leader, Lynga. She was angry that Zenos had been healing the lizardmen, who her kind had fought so hard to injure. Due to that, she had come to take him out. Unfortunately, all her attempts to do that were futile, as she couldn't hurt him no matter how she tried. As a last resort, she ordered her werewolves to destroy the clinic. Unaware that the building belonged to a wraith, Zenos tried to warn them, but they wouldn't listen. Just then, Carmilla revealed herself and was about to angrily destroy them when Zenos pleaded with her to remain calm. Watching him communicate with the wraith that easily, Lynga saw him as a demigod and ordered her men to join her in bowing to him. The next morning, an orc came to the clinic to inform Zenos that the head of the orcs, Lady Loewe, wished to see him. Zenos had already figured that his popularity would increase after dealing with the lizardmen and the werewolves, so he wasn't surprised to see the orcs coming for treatment next. The leaders of these 3 beastmen races were a big deal, and they had all made a fortune from an excavation of magic stones. A month had already passed since Zenos had opened the clinic, and he predicted that he'd eventually have to deal with the leaders of the factions. So he asked the orc if his boss, Loewe, was smart enough to listen to him during the treatment. When the orc confirmed that Loewe was quite wise, he agreed to treat her. The leader of the lizardmen faction, Zophia, had been giving him gifts, and the leader of the werewolves faction, Lynga, had been building a massive mansion next door to make up for the mess she made last time. So even if the orcs' leader, Loewe, caused him trouble, he wasn't worried, assuming she was similar to Lynga and Zophia in character and integrity. In any case, he asked the orc why Loewe didn't come to see him in person. The orc explained that he hadn't brought Loewe here because the place was crawling with people from enemy territory. That was understandable, so Zenos then asked the orc how bad of a state Loewe was in. Upon learning that she couldn't walk, he immediately got up to treat her at her place personally. The orc brought Zenos in front of a cave, which was the lair of the orc faction, and walked him through the path leading to the throne room, where Loewe and her underlings were waiting for Zenos to arrive. The orc introduced Loewe to Zenos as the emerging underground healer, and Loewe didn't miss the chance to tell Zenos how much of a celebrity he had become for treating people from the slums en masse. She asked Zenos if he could really provide any kind of healing. As long as the price paid was reasonable, Zenos answered in the affirmative, saying he had grown tired of working restlessly for free. Anyway, Loewe asked Zenos if he knew why she wasn't able to move from the throne. Zenos, taking that as a challenge, used his ability called Scan on her to see her condition, since from the outside she didn't appear to have suffered from any external injuries. After a proper inspection, he deduced that Loewe had a lump in her abdomen that was oozing magical energy, making him realize that it was perhaps a magic stone and not a tumor. Loewe confirmed his suspicion, telling him that the magic stone inside her had a high tendency to explode, meaning there was a high chance of her dying instantly if she tried to move. Zenos asked Loewe if someone had slipped the magic stone bomb into her food or something, but Loewe told him that it was nothing like that. In fact, she had mistaken the magic stone for a rice ball and ate it like a total goofball. Zenos initially thought that she was in danger, but seeing her joking around, he assumed she was wasting both of their time and refused to help her, telling her to help herself. Loewe became serious, requesting Zenos to reconsider, saying she had partially chewed the magic stone while eating it and believed there wasn't much time left before its detonation. The biggest problem was that her underlings wouldn't leave her side no matter what, as they were happy to die with her, and since so many lives were at stake, Loewe gave Zenos the key to all of her treasures in exchange for saving her and her loyal followers. Zenos finally agreed to help and summoned a scalpel to begin the operation. In the blink of an eye, he extracted the magic stone from her stomach and sealed it shut using his healing magic. Loewe was completely amazed, but she didn't have time to celebrate as the magic stone could still explode, but instead of throwing it far away, Zenos grabbed it in his hands. The stone exploded. It didn't even leave a scratch as he protected himself with his main character, special defensive magic. With the work done, he gave Loewe her key back, not wanting her fortune, making it clear that he only demanded a price equal to the amount of work he needed to do. Loewe was once again amazed by Zenos' ethics and told him to call her whenever he needed help. She voluntarily offered to provide 24/7 security for his clinic. With her appetite returning, she asked Zenos to join her for a rice ball meal, but Zenos didn't think that was a good idea, considering what had happened to her the last time she tried eating rice balls. Later that night, he returned home to find a jealous Lily, who expressed how much she was bothered by Zophia, Lynga, and now Loewe's frequent visits. Now that she mentioned it, Zenos also realized that the three beast girls had kind of been hanging around his house, even though they weren't injured at all. He assumed they were only doing so because they were bored, but Carmilla believed they were in love with him. Zenos thought that was absolutely ridiculous and stupid to like a guy who didn't even have a healing license. But Carmilla was certain, speaking from her experience of living for 300 years. On the other hand, Lily was worried that the three beast girls would steal her guy, even though he had never been hers to begin with. Carmilla laughed and predicted that the three factions would wage war soon over Zenos, and Zenos once again thought that was absolutely ridiculous. Soon after, Zophia visited Zenos, telling him that she'd been thinking of declaring war on the other two factions and asked him to side with the lizardmen. Meanwhile, Carmilla was in the background, giving off the classic "I told you so" expression. Shortly after, Lynga and Loewe also came to him with the same proposition, all three of them handing him gifts to win him over. Zenos didn't know what to do anymore. He wasn't trying to be a womanizer to begin with, but still, innocent lives were about to be lost simply because of his mere existence. The next morning, all three factions gathered at a battleground for the fight, and the three leaders brimmed with confidence that they would emerge victorious. Before things could escalate though, Zenos arrived with Lily, first clarifying that he hadn't come to stop this meaningless fight. He acknowledged that the three factions had a long-standing grudge against each other due to years of conflict, so he encouraged them to have it out with each other until they were satisfied. With Zenos' unexpected approval, the three leaders agreed to go all out, deciding that the winner would get to claim Zenos' sacred treasures. With that settled, the fight began. Zophia immediately tried to strike Lynga with her dual blade. Loewe came from behind to sneak an attack, but Zophia, suspecting it, dodged just in time and launched Loewe away into the werewolves. Lynga picked up her axe and attacked Zophia just as Loewe struck at both of them from above. With the three leaders stuck in a deadlock, They decided to harm each other's faction members first, and that led to an all-out war among everyone. But even at the end of the day, no one wanted to stay down, and all that was happening was that they were just losing their members for no reason. This war, which has been going on for years, doesn't seem like it will be ending soon. To be honest, even Zenos sits there watching to see what will happen unknown to them. Zenos is not sitting idle. He knows they want to fight, and the best way to make them feel better is to allow them to release their anger. They suddenly realize what he is doing when Loewe sees that all her injuries are healing immediately. She voices her concerns that people aren't dying. They figure out what has been going wrong. Zenos has been using his power to heal them all the while, so there's no way they can get injured. They look in his direction and he admits it. He reminds them that they are all his patients and he has the duty to heal them as the slum doctor. However, he doesn't stop the fight, telling them they can keep fighting till they are tired and he will keep healing until he is tired. The trio look at each other. What's the point of fighting that long when they won't get injured or even die? They realize it is a very worthless fight. I wonder why they are just figuring that out now. They decide to call it a day. It's about time they all unite together as several demi-humans living in the slum. However, one thing they have all decided they won't stop fighting about is who will end up being with Zenos. For this war, no one is giving up. Lily looks at Zenos as if he lacks understanding. She asks him if he knows what the girls are talking about, and he sincerely doesn't know. She assumes he actually likes the girls, which is the reason he is interested in ensuring they do not die, but that is sincerely not his intention. They are his patients, and as his mentor told him before, there are 3 different classes of healers. The third class who heal just injuries, the second class that heal people, while the first class are healers who try their best to make the world a better place. The dummy believes he is in the third class and all he does is heal injuries, but he also thinks that since he is in the slum, he can make the slum a better place. Lily still doubts that he doesn't like the girls. To be fair, it would be favorable to the clinic if the creatures keep fighting. That way they can keep getting injured and clients will come to their hospital. She immediately decides it's best she confesses her affection to him, so she tells him she likes him, but he feels it's a brother-sister affection, so he replies that he likes her too. They get their payment and go back home. Meanwhile, the commander of the Royal Knights is concerned about this peace. He calls his vice-commander, Krishna, nicknamed Iron Rose. He reveals to her that he heard a rumor that the demi-humans are no longer fighting. Krishna doesn't believe their fight can stop. That fight is integral to the well-being of the country. To maintain equilibrium, they ensure the poor fight the weak. Since they are bothered with that fight, they won't have time to think about attacking the citizens and the nobles. The fight being over is bad for them. He has found out that a human interfered in the fight, so he tells Krishna to go and investigate if the rumor is true, and if it is, she should kill the human involved so the country can continue the way it is. Wow, I am shocked some people hate peace. At the clinic, the 3 women stand behind Zenos, protecting him from nothing. In fact, when he sneezes, they all become overly protective, Zophia offering to comfort him with her tail and Loewe offering him her chest. But there is someone with no tail or even a good chest to offer. Lily. She is angry looking at herself. She has nothing to compete with them with, and if there is indeed a competition, it is sure that she is the one who will lose. One thing she can do is cook, so she rushes to get them tea. Upon returning, she witnesses Zenos healing Zophia's wounds. She admits that Zophia hasn't been wounded for quite some time, and now one of her lizards is wounded too. She reveals they were wounded by members of the Royal Knights. They talk about how Iron Rose is strong and for some reason, she has been lurking around them. Leaving that conversation, Zenos asks for dinner and Lily thinks of what to cook, but the women start mentioning the things they want for dinner. This makes him tell them he wasn't asking them, and they look at him shocked. Lily prepares dinner and they all eat. During their meal, Carmilla comments that he is the only one who can bring the 3 heads of the slum together, and he feels suspicious that something bad is about to happen. Carmilla flies to her lodge after dropping another word that makes him feel like he is no longer safe. Suspicions are rarely wrong as the following day Krishna finds her way to the slum. Seeing the joy around, she can't believe it is the same slum she knew before. She finds a lizard on the way and pretends as if she lost her way. She asks if that is indeed the slum and asks why everyone is relating well. The lizard tells her the other creatures aren't bad people and they've realized they can live together. When she tries to press further to know who mediated, he says he doesn't know her and he can't tell her anything. He walks away, but she brings out her gun to attack him. He is courageous. Even if he will lose his life, he will never sell out the man that saved them all. He reveals his loyalty to Zenos, saying she can kill him for all he cares. Zophia walks by with another lizard, and the lizard calls their attention, so Krishna runs away. She recalls she had injured Zophia before, and she can't understand how she is healed instantly. It means this mediator is someone strong, and if they're not too careful, their kingdom will fall into jeopardy. She stops running and sees she is out of the slum, but in the middle of nowhere. She is so confused about her location, but she sees Zenos' house around and enters to ask for directions. Just as he tries to direct her, Lily comes out with tea and sees her. She assumes Krishna is a client and asks if she needs healing. Krishna connects the dots. The man in front of her is the mediator. She brings out her gun and immediately shoots him. A purple cloud covers Zenos as Lily's tray falls. She runs to her brother, begging with all her soul that he isn't dead. And with that, we have come to the end of this part. Stay tuned for next part. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to receive all the latest updates.